All right, let's go ahead and go on television, please. Folks on the stream, if you'll give me just 1 second, we're going to break into television. We do have a tornado warning for LaFleur County, southern LaFleur County.
Live on 5 News and streaming on 5 Plus, this is a Weather Impact Alert.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. 5 News Chief Meteorologist Skot Covert here with our first tornado warning of the day. This is going to be for southern LaFleur County. Doppler radar indicated storm capable of producing a tornado at any moment. Now moving through portions of southern LaFleur County. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford and Washington County as well. We'll get to that here in a moment. It looks like a cell that is of interest to us right now is going to be coming out of the Smithville area. So it's not technically in LaFleur County at the moment, but the track it is taking, it will certainly take it into LaFleur County. It also may skirt parts of Polk County. That's P-O-L-K, so not far from Rich Mountain, probably close to the Mena area as well. On that current trajectory, it may very well carry it into portions of Scott County, something to be aware of as we track this storm over the next several minutes. Right now, it is just Doppler radar indicated. The warning itself going to run until 2:15. Right now, the warning where the storm is in McCurtain County. Not technically our viewing area, but LaFleur certainly is. And for the folks here in LaFleur County, we want to be here for you through this storm. This is probably the first of what will inevitably be a few different severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings that we're going to have over the next few hours. Tornado watch in effect for the entire 5 News viewing area until 7 o'clock. This evening. We'll take a look at our velocities. This is how we measure the rotation, and it's really easy to pinpoint exactly where that rotation is. It's going to be right here. You can see where those colors start to come together. Those greens are winds blowing towards the Fort Smith radar, reds blowing away. Where that circulation is right here along Oklahoma 259 near Smithville. This is going to be moving almost parallel with 259 into southern LaFleur County. So if you're in LaFleur County for extreme southeastern LaFleur County, now is the time to go ahead and take those tornado safety precautions. New warning now issued for portions of Scott County as well. Let me show you what that's going to look like. It's for the same exact storm. It also includes Polk County. So basically the 3 different weather service offices, Tulsa, Little Rock, and Shreveport, now forming this one polygon, given we're kind of on the border of all 3 different offices. It does include far southwestern Scott County. So heads up, we've got a circulation right here near Smithville that's moving towards the north-northeast. It'll move through portions of southern LaFleur before eventually kind of skirting that LaFleur, Polk, Scott County line. That's going to be downstream from us right there. What I want to do now is get an idea of how fast this storm is moving. And that's going to give us an idea of who's going to be in the path and when it is set to arrive. It looks like this storm for this specific one moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So with that information, I'll put a track on it from the area of rotation itself up towards the north and east, and that puts it in Smithville at 156, puts that at Mountain Fork at 219, Fogle at 222, Rich Mountain 227, Tin Top at 234. Again, Doppler radar indicated rotation tells us that a tornado could be developing, if not already on the ground at this time. We'll take a look at our debris tracker. I see no debris being lofted into the air, at least being detected by radar. Let's hope that continues to be the case. Right now, the rotation is rather impressive with that cell. It's pretty easy to pinpoint, even from a broad perspective. New scan now coming in, showing that rotation continuing just to the west of Cove, getting really close to Smithville. That's going to take it definitely into LaFleur County. Southeastern LaFleur County is where we would expect that rotation to track over the next several minutes. While we're waiting for more information there, I do want to share some information in northwest Arkansas. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning. 2 different severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, the first one is going to be for Delaware County in Oklahoma, and that's going to move into extreme northwestern Benton County. Right now, it is just a severe thunderstorm warning, but it has an interesting little attribute to it. It has what's called a tornado possible tag, meaning there is some mid-level rotation, not enough to actually warrant a tornado warning, but we want to give folks an early heads up that we could be tracking and trending into that direction. So if you live Sulphur Springs, Gravette, Decatur, north of Siloam, we want to watch that storm very closely there. That's going to be exiting out of Delaware County. Another storm now moving out of Adair in Sequoia. This will move into parts of northwestern Crawford, southwestern Washington County. This right now not exhibiting any signs of rotation. The warning itself includes Lincoln, Prairie Grove, Stillwell, West Fork, I'll say Farmington, probably Hawkeye, Morrow. That's going to be moving up towards the north and east as well. Right now, our primary concern with this specific cell, 60-mile-per-hour winds, probably some small hail with that as well. The thing to know about all of these storms is the environment is rather conducive for quick rotation. In fact, all three of those warnings have now been issued within of about 60 to 90 seconds. So we know these storms are moving into a very unfavorable environment that will inevitably support the development of supercells that are rotating, and that's going to be our primary concern with this one line of storms. Right now, things are rather discrete in nature, which lends itself to certainly some stronger supercells developing. This is our only tornado warning at the moment from McCurtain County, Oklahoma. That track takes it into three different counties right here that kind of are joined together: southeastern LaFleur, northwestern Polk, southwestern Scott counties. That tornado warning in effect until 2:15 this afternoon. Right now, we'll go back in and take another look at the rotation. That's going to be right on top of Smithville. Rotation has actually increased. That is a tighter circulation. I'll circle it for you, get an idea of exactly where it is right there. In fact, we're going to zoom in even tighter. So we're approaching the LaFleur-McCurtain County line, right along 259. Smithville's right here, and this is going to be pushing towards the north-northeast, so I'll give it about 5 to 10 minutes, and we're certainly going to be definitively in LaFleur County. So heads up, folks, there. Let me do this. Let me back it up. Octavia, this is going to come really close to you. I think it may barely just miss you, just barely to the east, along east of 259, but it's really close to Octavia. Let me zoom back in and we'll populate a few more town and community names in southern LaFleur. That's going to be not a lot of folks living out here, but those that do are really important to me, so that's why we focus on this so closely. It does push into portions of Scott County. I think you're going to have a little bit of time with that specific warning. Let's go ahead and take a look area-wide. I want to look at some of the rotation in the Benton County warning. It's not a tornado warning at the moment, but it is a severe thunderstorm warning that does have some rotation that has been pretty obvious when you look at it from the Fort Smith radar. Let me back this up a little bit. You can kind of see it right here. This is going to be just to the north of Colcord. It's not the most impressive rotation. It's different from the one down south in McCurtain and LaFleur County, right? In the sense that the colors aren't near as bright and they're not tightly as compact as the others, but it certainly could produce something eventually. It could mature and grow, and so that's going to be pushing into northwestern Benton County, close to Gravette. Sulphur Springs would be next in line with that specific cell. You can see the warning does include a good chunk of northwestern Benton County. We'll put a track on that one as well. Right now it just has a tornado possible tag, which is a step below a tornado warning. You could treat it as such if you choose to do so. Southwest City, 216, Pack at 218, Knoll, once it crosses over into McDonald County at 223. Emmanuel Church right here, that was going to be at 205, would be an estimated time of arrival, assuming that storm doesn't speed up or slow down. We'll back things out one more time. Get a check of that other warning that's going to be moving out of Sequoia and Adair. That is still not rotating at this time, which is some good news. Let's focus back in on our tornado warning. Area of rotation is probably at this point right on the McCurtain-LaFleur County line. It's a little bit more broad with the latest scan right there, but definitively still some rotation. It's pretty easy to pick out. We're right on top of Smithville. Folks in Smithville probably need to be taking their tornado shelter safety precautions right now. As we speak, that rotation continues to show some signs of strengthening. It's becoming a little bit tighter there. Those winds are blowing in opposing directions, and when you have winds blowing in opposing directions like that, that's where we start to see that spin. The environment has a lot of shear with it right now. Not only does it have a lot of shear, we've noticed a lot of destabilization this afternoon, which means the air is very volatile. It's not going to take a lot to produce some stronger thunderstorms. We call it storm fuel. That's our hillbilly redneck way of calling it, just storm fuel. There's a big fancy scientific term. Not going to bore you with it. Key takeaway is there's plenty of it out there in the atmosphere for us today. We've seen the atmosphere destabilize over the last several hours, and that is why we start to see these storms pop as quickly as they are. Folks in southeastern LaFleur, northwestern Polk, so we're talking Rich Mountain in Polk County, you need to be taking your tornado safety precautions. This is moving towards the northeast, your direction. In Scott County, this does not include Blancett, but it does include Black Fork. Likely we're going to be crossing 270, State Highway 270 there in Polk County near Rich Mountain, and then it'll eventually push into portions of southwestern Scott County. That warning runs until 2:30. So basically at this point, we have 3 different warning polygons just to make up one warning. It's just because there's 3 different weather service offices responsible for those 3 different counties there. But you can see overall makes one large tornado warning polygon. Area of rotation right in this general vicinity right here. So it would be rain wrapped. There's not going to be a clear visible way to see it, just given the fact that there's such high precipitation right there. Notice the lightning a bit on the uptick there as well. It tells us it's a pretty strong supercell. Continues to be. It's not the most organized. It is somewhat messy, but enough rotation there that I think the warning is certainly warranted. We'll take another look at our velocities and see what that's doing. It still shows a pretty clear sign of some rotation, which is right now going to be on top of the McCurtain-Leflore County line, right in this general vicinity right here. It's somewhat broader with this scan, but it's still strong. So just to the north of Smithville, we're right on that Leflore County line. So here's Octavia along 259. If you're in Octavia, not a bad idea to take those tornado safety precautions. We might be just a mile or so to your east. So really close for comfort. I would recommend go ahead and seeking shelter in Octavia. With the rain the way it is, right on top of that circulation, you're just not going to see anything at all, right? So it's going to be very difficult to go out in the front porch like we all are tempted to do. I understand that, but you're not going to be able to see anything. Rain wrapped, certainly. That warning for McCurtain goes until 2:15, so we're going to have about 15 more minutes to go, although it's clear that that's about to cross out of McCurtain and be 100% in Leflore County, in which that warning specifically goes until 2:30. Big Cedar is included in that. If you live along Highway Oklahoma 63, between, let's say, Big Cedar and then Mountain Fork in Arkansas, you probably need to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions as well. What does that look like for you? You're going to want to put as many walls between you and the exterior of your home as possible. Sometimes that's the innermost room. It could be a closet. A smaller room is often helpful. And if you have a basement or some underground shelter, that's obviously going to be your best bet with this specific cell. I want to do this. I want to go back into that Delaware County storm. This is going to be still just a severe thunderstorm warning with that interesting attribute that suggests that there is a little bit of rotation. Looking at it from a couple of different perspectives, I'm less concerned about that than I was a couple of scans ago. Still concerned, make no mistake about that, but that is going to be a little bit less conducive, at least over the next couple of minutes. I'm going to read something here. Tornado warning cell approaching southeastern Leflore has a motion a little to the right of the other cells. Rotation is moderately strong and persistent. This cell should have increasing tornado potential over the next hour or so. The long-term track is okay. No reports out of the Weather Service in Shreveport coming out of that cell through McCurtain County. That's some good news for us. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning that does include portions of Adair, Washington, northwestern Sequoia County. As I look at those winds, I'm not seeing anything that concerns me right now in terms of actual rotation. Now, there's certainly going to be some gusty winds, but we're talking at this point straight line winds, 60 or so miles per hour. Now to the east of Stillwell, that's going to extend back towards, let's say, Muldrow. That's all pushing towards the north and east. The severe aspect here is going to be this line. Right now, there might be a little bit of small hail mixing in, but we're below the hail criteria to issue a warning. So the primary concern with this specific cell is going to be damaging straight line winds. Currently, that cell that we're tracking together is moving northeast quickly at 60 miles per hour. So what I would like to do for you is put a track on that so you have an idea of what time that you might experience those winds. So what we'll do is we'll put this on the leading edge of the line. Doesn't necessarily mean that's when the rain and the potential hail is going to move through, but the winds on the leading edge of that storm would be at Morrow at 203, Lincoln at 206, let's say Prairie Grove 212, Hogeye 214, Farmington at 217, West Fork at 220. That assumes the storm does not speed up, slow down, or change its path, which right now it doesn't appear to be doing so. I'm going to go back to our tornado warning. If you're just not joining us, current time is right at 2:02. We have an extremely volatile atmosphere out there this afternoon, and for that reason, we do have a tornado watch that's going to be in effect until 7 o'clock this evening for everybody in the Channel 5 viewing area. Our first tornado warning, and currently the only tornado warning of the day, is for this cell that the rotation in which is now moving into southeastern Leflore County. You can see that rotation is going to be right here just to the east of Highway 259. That's really close to the Leflore, Polk, Scott County triad. Just for some context, your rotation's right here as seen from the Fort Smith radar. Where those reds and greens are coming together, that's what we call a rotation couplet. If there is a wall cloud, if there is a tornado, that's where it would be. Weather Service out of Shreveport did not get any reports of damage or debris when it was in their coverage area. I'm looking at our debris tracker, and I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me as debris, at least as of the moment. We'll want to pay close attention to that. Joshua Weissel, also in studio working off air. Joshua, if you see something on that radar tool over there to your right, I would certainly be curious about that. If you see something, just let me know. Looks like we're continuing our severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford, Sequoia, Adair, and Washington counties. That's going to be for 60-mile-per-hour winds, perhaps some small hail. That's the storm we were just looking at. This line does extend from northeast Oklahoma all the way into southeast Oklahoma. It is tracking off towards the east-northeast. The two warnings are severe here in orange. Red's going to be our tornado warning. A strong storm is going to be soon moving into the Fort Smith area. It's not severe as of this moment. Could it become severe? Yes, it certainly could, and so we want to be very mindful of that, but at least as of right now, I'm not tracking any severe weather with that specific cell off to your west. I want to do something here. I think I want to pull up our Fort Smith camera. We'll get a look at that storm. This is going to be on the ACHE, so this is the south side of Fort Smith there. Not seeing anything that's necessarily of concern right now. Let me pull up our POTO camera. This POTO camera sits on the Eastern Oklahoma Medical Center Hospital. You can see some heavy rain coming down, kind of obscuring our view off towards the west, but we're not seeing anything of concern to us right now. Let me do this. Let me show you our tornado watch. This is going to be in effect until 7 o'clock for all of the counties here shaded in yellow, which is the entire 5 News viewing area. A watch simply means conditions are favorable for the rapid development of a tornado. We could be seeing that right now in Leflore County. We're talking southeastern Leflore County. Soon that's going to be crossing. It may ride the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line pretty tightly there where that rotation is. Let me zoom in a little bit better for you here and we'll recenter that up. It does appear that there is a bit of an inflow notch developing right here. So we have a somewhat of a broad hook echo. Your rotation's probably going to be in this general vicinity right here. It remains Doppler radar indicated. Smithville, the area of rotation is past you. You're still technically in a warning, but it soon is going to be allowed to drop. And we'll focus on Leflore County here. That warning is going to continue until 2:30 this afternoon, so we have about 25 more minutes to go. Rich Mountain in Polk County, you probably need to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions. Should you also be doing that in Black Fork? I think so. I think this is going to be tracking towards the northeastward direction. We'll take another look at our wind speeds and directions and see where that rotation is. It's maintaining itself. It's not necessarily strengthening or weakening. I would say it's relatively consistent, but this is your concern right here where these reds are beginning to meet up with those brighter greens. It's not necessarily the strongest rotation I've ever seen, and I'm not seeing debris. That's some good news. Let's hope that doesn't change. It's going to be really tough to see anything. You look at the rain mode and goodness gracious, there's a lot of those reds right there, and that tells us that it's likely rain wrapped if there is anything to see at all. I suspect there probably is some lowering. Minimally, the rotation is going to be in that cell. We continue to move northeast at 50 miles per hour. Some locations that are going to be impacted, of course, we're talking about Black Fork, Ridge Mountain, Queen Wilhelmina State Park, Shady Grove, Eagleton, Potter, just to name a few. I'll put a track on this at 50 miles per hour from the area of rotation. Of course, the storm's bigger than just that, but the area of rotation itself would be tracking, and I've extended it beyond just the warning. I'm trying to give folks a early heads up that even though you might not be in the red polygon, this could inevitably be a problem for you. Mountain Fork at 217, Fogle 220, there at the State Park 223, Black Fork 226, Blancet at 236, Oliver at 243. Of course, there's a few other
and just real quick,
points
too, it looks like there may be a little area of rotation, not an immediate tornado risk, but something we need to watch near Evansville in southwest Washington County.
Okay, let me go take a look at that. I wouldn't doubt it one bit, just given what we know about the environment right now. A lot of shear. Yeah, you're exactly right. There's a little bit right there. It's a weak rotation, but that doesn't mean it might not change into something else. So you're right. This white line here is the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line. So we're talking pretty much right on top of Oklahoma 100. Vineyard Road. Here's Morrow. Here's Highway 45. Strickler is going to be right here. This would be continuing to push off towards the northeast as well. Let's watch that, Joshua. Thank you for pointing that out. It is a severe thunderstorm warning. We know there's a lot of ingredients favorable for the production of tornadoes, so it's certainly something that we need to be very, very mindful of. Let's go back into the Benton County the Benton County severe thunderstorm warning that has a tornado possible tag on. If you didn't get my explanation on that earlier, this is a standard severe thunderstorm warning with an additional piece of information from the Weather Service saying you got to watch this one. It's got a little bit of rotation. We may be trending towards a tornado warning. Some very interesting wind fields right there. This is going to be out of the Tulsa radar. I'm not seeing anything that gives me a lot of immediate concern, at least as it relates to Delaware or Benton County. I think there's definitely going to be a strong thunderstorm. You're going to see some heavy increased rains and probably some gusty winds up to about 60 miles per hour. Rotation right there is not as pronounced as it was a little bit ago. We look into this severe thunderstorm warning that's now moving into southwestern Washington County, northwestern Crawford. Counties. 60-mile-per-hour winds with that specific storm. Just getting some information, starting processing that. We do have an active tornado warning in our coverage area right now, and that is going to be LaFleur and Scott counties. It is an active tornado warning with rotation, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're going to stay here on that specific storm. That rotation has been consistent. It is strong and it is consistent. So that's really important to us for our viewing area in LaFleur and Scott counties. We're taking a look at that from the Shreveport radar. You can see it right here, different colors, but showing kind of the same thing, broad area of tight rotation that's going to be continuing to track into Scott County right now in LaFleur, southern LaFleur counties. That's our concern. Tornado warning is going to remain in effect until 2:30 for southeastern LaFleur County with that information. Joshua, going to bring you in here real quick.
Yeah, and we're tracking these storms very closely. Of course, we have the one tornado warning that is in effect for portions of our southern counties. So if you're watching from northwest Arkansas, no tornado warnings yet. But this is just one of those volatile atmospheres that even though there's not many tornado warnings, you're still going to want to remain vigilant. And I think the thing that we've been kind of stressing over the last couple of days is this may not be the most significant risk that we've ever seen up here in northwest Arkansas, but there's so many activities and gatherings with Easter weekend. You're going to want to stay tuned to the forecast because at any time, any of these could have the potential to rotate and maybe become tornadic very shortly. So keeping an eye on this. If you are in a tornado warning, the best thing to do, get on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Make sure it's the centermost room. It's an interior bathroom, an interior closet. Cover yourself with pillows and blankets. Bring your kids, bring your pets into the shelter there with you, and wait until the storm has passed. You can watch us on 5+ and just listen to us while you're in there. You don't have to stay in the same room with the TV. Just make sure you're getting to that place of shelter just to be safe. We don't have any confirmed tornado now, but this is just something we're going to have to be watching very carefully. And Scott, is that a update for the rotation in Washington County?
Yeah, it's still some broad rotation there near Morrow. Not tornado warned right now. Let's watch it really closely. That continues to show some signs there. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for northwest Arkansas. I want to go back to rain mode. This does include Siloam Springs, and this also has a tornado possible tag for western Benton County. Right now, 60-mile-per-hour winds, the primary concern, but there is enough spin with that specific cell that the Weather Service is indicating you might want to watch that specific cell. I'm going to take that data off so we can see it. I'll also put a track onto that. That's going to be lifting towards the northeast near Bentonville and Rogers as well. That specific storm likely moving is around the same speed as the others. No, it's moving very quickly, up to 70 miles per hour. So it's a very fast-moving cell.
And just the last scan, looking kind of back here at the normalized rotation, the one that's just to the north of Zafra, that one's looking a little bit stronger on the latest scan.
Okay.
So that one
I'll
may
come
be
back to that. I'll come back to that. Thank you. Can we go full screen here? Gentry, estimated time of arrival with this new warning, 2:12, Decatur 2:14, Haifel at 2:18, Hawassi 2:22, Centerton at 2:24, Bella Vista at 2:26. This is for damaging straight line winds. Downtown Bentonville 2:28, Rogers at 2:31, Brightwater at 2:37. I'm going to go back to that cell Joshua was mentioning. Let's take another look at that rotation, and we're going to have to come back to southwestern Washington County as well. I'm afraid that one may be trying to pulse up. Right now, our active tornado warning in our viewing area includes LaFleur County and Scott County. As Joshua just mentioned, we are noticing an uptick on that rotation in that specific area right now. So if you're in southeastern LaFleur, if you're in Black Fork, Rich Mountain, you need to be taking those tornado safety precautions right now. Tornado sirens are going off in Monroe, Oklahoma, that according to emergency managers there. I want to look at this cell. There's actually a couple areas of interest to me in Washington County, but the one specifically is going to be in southwestern Washington County. This is going to be just to the south of Lincoln. So of course Lincoln's right here. Here's Prairie Grove. Here's Mara. A little bit of spin right there in that cell where those colors are coming together. It's not enough to warrant a tornado warning at the moment, but it's certainly something that we very well could see grow into something. Looks like we have a... Okay, that's just a different update for that specific cell. That warning is a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. We got to watch that rotation there in southwestern Washington County. Given the environment that this is in, and given what we're seeing with some of these other cells, it may not take a whole lot to get some things rotating. Area-wide reset right here. We have a line. It's a broken line of severe thunderstorms spanning Benton County all the way down to LaFleur County. So in our neck of the woods, 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. One does have a tornado possible tag. That just fell off as I pointed out it there in northwestern Benton County. So now we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, 1 tornado warning. This tornado warning is out ahead of the actual main line, which makes it a bit more concerning to us. Those are the ones that you really want to watch. You've probably heard us talk about that from time to time. And it's moving a little bit more to the right, or a little bit more to the east, which makes it more favorable to tap into some low-level wind shear. And that low-level wind shear very well could continue sustaining that rotation. Let's go take another look at it. I'm going to center that up on your screen right here. Yeah, that rotation is there, and it's a little concerning to me. We're getting kind of in some geography, some topography. The terrain there is probably influencing what we see on radar, but you see that inflow right in this general vicinity, right here along 63. This is where our rotation would be. It's going to be just to the southwest of Rich Mountain, but we're running that LaFleur-Polk County line right here south of 270. Soon it's going to be on 270 at this rate. Let me go back to live Doppler radar. Yep. It's going to still be rain wrap, still not going to be able to see anything. Radar indicated rotation with that specific cell. That's going to be lifting near Rich Mountain. If you're in Rich Mountain, you don't have a whole lot of time to take those tornado safety precautions. I would recommend doing so now. Once we're clear there, we move back into Scott County, which includes Black Fork right here. Here's Brawley, here's Blancett. That's going to be in that same general vicinity where that rotation will inevitably track. Waldron's not currently in the tornado warning. On its current path, it would take it near Waldron, so let's be very mindful of that. If you're in Waldron, no immediate concern, got a little bit of time, but that would be tracking your direction. May very well move into parts of a good majority of Scott County. Make a warning, if there is to be a new warning issue, may clip portions of Sebastian County. So that circulation of LaFleur County handing off to a new circulation a little to the east of the original track. Look at that rotation. Right there. Okay. Actually, you can see that rotation much better here on this product. I'm going to circle it for you. Kind of see that right there. I'm going to show you this rotation here, and I've got a new severe thunderstorm warning to show you as well. This is going to include Crawford, Sebastian, Sequoia, LaFleur, Franklin, and Washington counties. This is going to be a large severe thunderstorm warning. We'll back out. It'll populate on the screen there. And that's going to be for the leading edge of this cell now moving through Crawford and Sebastian counties. So this also looks like it also has a tornado possible tag. or is that going to be for our the other Washington County cell? Let's make sure. No, it does not. So Alma, Barling, Fort Smith, Van Buren, Mountainburg, Rudy, you're included in this severe thunderstorm warning. 60-mile-per-hour winds coming out of the cell, moving towards the northeast. I want to go back up to that other Washington County cell, southwest Washington County, where I've been watching that rotation. It has been included in this tornado possible tag, and there is continuing to be a little bit of rotation right there. I'll circle that once we zoom in, populate some roads on here. It's broad rotation. It's not immediately pressing to me. I'm just concerned about it, just given the fact that we're kind of in an environment that would support things developing rather quickly. But it is some broad rotation right here along 45. So we're just to the south of Lincoln, a little bit of rotation moving through your neck of the woods. And you're also not going to be able to see that simply because of the rain there. Getting a lot of information over here, getting your text messages as well. I'm reviewing those in real time, so if I pause, that's all I'm looking at. Let's go back into Benton County. Looks like that warning has been updated, and that extends into portions of Washington there as well. Right now, moving into portions of western Benton County through Decatur and Gravette is a severe thunderstorm warning, still capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds with that specific cell. That's going to be tracking towards the northeast. Here's Bella Vista. You're included in this warning. Bentonville, Rogers is going to be right here behind my computer monitor. So let me move that over so you can see that better. There you go. Anywhere up in between Rogers and Bella Vista, that storm is probably going to produce some gusty winds, and there's going to be maybe some small hail mixing in where you find these darker reds here. Siloam, it's just passed off to your east. Things are going to get better for you in Siloam, but if you're in Decatur, you're going to have a little bit to go before that cell is going to be done with you. Good news is, for a lot of us, this is it. We got the one line and then we're done. Unfortunately, that one line is intensifying as it moves into our neck of the woods. That's why we've kind of gone from 0 to 60 here over the last few minutes. We continue to watch this cell southwest of West Fork that is going to be tracking towards the northeast, close to Fayetteville as well. It's showing some signs of some weak rotation near Lincoln, not enough to constitute a tornado warning at the moment. New severe thunderstorm warning does include a good chunk, if not all of Crawford County for damaging straight line winds. I'm kind of concerned with that little kink right there. That's going to be near Van Buren. We'll want to make sure there's nothing going to try to develop right there with that specific cell. Our tornado warning right now continues for LeFlore, Scott, and Polk counties. This cell is undergoing what we call some restructuring. There is a new area of circulation developing within this one specific cell, but it is a new area of rotation nonetheless that in of itself does constitute a tornado warning, and that's why that remains into effect. Waldron's not included in it, but you can see that general track, should there be a new warning issued downstream, could potentially include places like Waldron. I only say that not to alarm you, but just to give you a heads up that there's probably not a whole lot necessarily to change that storm direction. It would just need to fizzle out completely, but right now I'm not necessarily seeing that. We'll go back into the actual velocity mode here, which is a way we were able to see the actual rotation. And right now, you do have a pretty good signal right here near Mountain Fork. This is going to be your concern. Highway 8, Arkansas Highway 8, soon that's going to be crossing over Highway 88 as well. Area of concern just to the west, probably 2 to 3 miles from Rocky. If you live between Mountain Fork and Rocky, I hope you are in your safe place right now. Best thing to do right now is turn your television up and just listen to my voice, or you can of course download, or if you don't already have our mobile app, we're streaming right there live as well, so you can just put us in your pocket and take us with you. We'd prefer that you just go ahead and seek shelter. It's not going to be one that you're going to be able to go out in the back porch and see much of. There's a lot of precipitation wrapping around this. We call it a rain-wrapped storm. So should there be a wall cloud, should there be a funnel, or even a tornado, we're not likely going to be able to see anything right there. We'll take a look at our debris tracker. We need to check in and make sure we don't have anything. I don't necessarily see anything debris related at this exact moment. You back it up over a few scans, nothing sticks out to me there. That's some good news for us. I want to go back though to our rain mode, and I want to look at that cell that's getting ready to move into Crawford and Sebastian County. Let's examine this and make sure there's nothing trying to spin right there, and I don't see much. I do see some strong straight line winds, 60 plus miles per hour through Cedarville, Alma, Chester, Fort Smith, Van Buren, Alma, I think I've already said Alma. Mulberry would eventually be down next in line with that cell as well. Let's bump our way back up into southwestern Washington County. I continue to see the rotation right here, and it's not exactly the strongest, and it's not enough to actually warrant a tornado warning in of itself, but it has been somewhat consistent, and that's going to be a concern to me until I can see that signature disappear. But there still certainly is something just to the west of West Fork. Okay, looks like LaFleur has been canceled out of that tornado warning. Scott County, though, still in our viewing area, is included in that warning. And of course, our friends in northwestern Polk County also included. Southwest of Prairie Grove right here, right along 62, probably an area of rotation that we want to be very mindful of. Joshua, did you have something?
I was going to say the cameras are now turned facing that, so if anything were to be rotating or if there were any lowerings, we'd be able to see that here probably in the next 5-10 minutes when that's in range of some of our cameras.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, if you're just now joining us, let's reset everything. We have a line of broken supercells moving through the area. They're somewhat semi-discrete. At times they do exhibit signs of rotation. 3 distinct severe thunderstorm warnings: Benton County, a good chunk of Washington, Crawford, Sebastian County, portions of Sequoia and LaFleur included under severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have one supercell that has a history of some strong rotation that has now moved out of LaFleur into portions of Polk and now Scott counties, and that storm in Scott County continues to show some signs of rotation. I was just looking at the debris fields, and I'm not seeing anything. We've not received any reports, so right now my guess, and it's only a guess, is that this remains Doppler radar indicated rotation that has not actually produced a tornado yet. I can't tell you that for sure, but with the information that I have right now, that would be my guess. Rotation has been restructuring itself with this specific cell, but in the next 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to be moving into Scott County, which is included in portions of the tornado warning. Okay, let's do this. Let's put a track on this into, right now it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So from Rich Mountain into Scott County. Rich Mountain in the next 6 minutes. Ritz at 240, Beauchamp at 242, Blancett at 243, Winfield at 253. Should it not weaken, it would be in the Waldron area around 256, 259, say somewhere in between there. Center Point School at 302, Lowenham School at 306. That's assuming it stays on its current trajectory, and we're getting some information that it probably is going to do just that. So let's be on guard if we're in Waldron, Parks, Blancett. I want to go back into our Crawford County cell. Weather Service passing along some information that it's kind of looking more what they describe as cellular, which is a concern to us because sometimes we can get these line segments, and that's of one concern, but when they go more cellular, they're starting to act on their own and trying to break away from the main line. And if that is to happen, we could be looking at a more intense storm. Right now, I'm not finding any rotation through Fort Smith, through Crawford County as a whole. Right now, a damaging wind potential certainly continues. I do want to go back into this new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This includes portions of Washington, Benton, Carroll, and Madison. So it's a very large severe thunderstorm warning. Damaging straight line winds looks likely soon to move into the Fayetteville area, but I'll also tell you, when you just look at the rotation there, that has been somewhat persistent, albeit weak, but persistent rotation just to the west of West Fork, south of Fayetteville, in the circled area right here. Consistently weak rotation. Let's hope it stays that way, but given the environment, we can't trust it. We don't trust any of these storms out there this afternoon. That could turn into something, and I don't want to necessarily alarm you, but it is important for me to pass what I know along to you. So if you might want to be just thinking, if you're in Washington County or upstream from that, you might want to be thinking about kind of getting ready just in case a warning is issued, should it actually intensify. Right now it's going to run until 3:30 this afternoon. 70 mile per hour straight line winds. It now does have a tornado possible tag. Again, that's kind of a step between a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning, kind of just a heads up that maybe we're trending in that direction, and that now includes this cell here that we've been tracking that rotation on. That's soon going to be moving into the Fayetteville community. Let's do this. I'm looking at our cameras. Let's not do anything with those just right now, but if you guys want to be watching those, I don't want to miss anything there.
Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce. I think that one's going to be able to see it here first.
I think you're right. There could be some decent RDOT cameras in there too. Let me go a little bit into Benton County. Benton County, no rotation with your cells right now. Damaging straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour with the cell that's moving right now. Soon to be in Bella Vista. It's kind of knocking at your back door. That warning also set to expire. I believe that's going to be for you 2:45. So you've got about 15 more minutes in Decatur, Bella Vista, Bentonville. For this specific cell right now that's now exiting Siloam, it's exiting Gentry. It's going to be packing a little bit of wind right there, especially in that leading edge of that line. That's where those winds could reach 60 mile per hour. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some small hail, but this isn't really necessarily a setup today that is going to be conducive for a whole lot of hail, at least in that linear segment. It's going to be more of a wind potential with those specific cells. We'll go back to rotation. You know, we want to watch these little kinks right here. Right now, that's all they are, but sometimes in those linear segments, if you get a little kink like that, that's an area that sometimes can translate into rotation down the road. Right now, nothing to be too concerned with regards to that. Rotation here in southwestern, really soon just to be western Washington County. Gosh, it's really broad. It's not very tight. I still don't like it, though. I really don't like it at all. In Crawford County, here's Cedarville right here. Really heavy storm moving through Cedarville. That's about to get to Mountainburg in the Rudy area as well. Portions of it is certainly going to move near Alma and Mulberry. While you're technically included in this warning, you're probably going to be impacted by some of this storm activity back off towards the south. That's going to be tracking northeastern direction. We want to watch that really quickly. This is what we mean by some of this cell going cellular, kind of breaking away from the main line. When things start to do that, they're trying to act up. That doesn't mean the atmosphere is going to allow that to happen, but that cell looks like it's trying to break away and do something a little bit different, and that's of concern to me there. That cell does not have a tornado possible tag right now. Not seeing any rotation with it. Let's hope that stays the case, but a cell that we want to watch very, very closely.
And just real quick, it looks like they updated that to a considerable tag for the Fayetteville storm for 70 mile per hour winds.
Up to 70 mile per hour straight line winds. Soon that's going to be moving into Fayetteville, Springdale, West Fork, Greenland, Farmington. It's in Farmington right now, really. Those straight line winds would be. We'll go back to our velocity. I'll do some sampling here of those winds. Seems awfully low at radar level, but I have no doubt once you get down to the surface that that's probably translating a little bit higher than actually that. So not only do you have 70 mile per hour straight line winds potentially coming out of that, you very well could have some rotation as well. And that's been some of our concern for the last several scans. It's weak, but it's persistently there, and that's why I don't like it necessarily. Okay, let's go back to our tornado warning right now. We have a new tornado warning. This is going to include all of Waldron. Like we were kind of just discussing that. This tornado warning is going to run until 3 o'clock, so we've got 30 more minutes. Heads up in Waldron. Your rotation is still consistently there. It's now in Scott County. There was a brief moment where it did pass briefly into northwestern Polk County, but now it's back in Scott County. And if you're in Waldron, if you're in Blancett, we need you to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions. What I'll do for you here is I'm going to put a circle around the area of rotation. Now what I would like to do is put a path and give you some times of arrival. Now these are not times that you have to finish dishes or finish watching something on TikTok. This is times that you probably need to be going ahead and taking your tornado safety precautions. That latest scan actually is increasing the rotation with that, and I don't like that at all. Specifically, this cell right now is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So with that in mind, that's going to take it through the Waldron community. Waldron at about 2:55, so you've got a few minutes. Let's start at the top. 10 top, 234. Ritz at 236. Blancett at 240. Winfield 250. Waldron there around 255, 253, give or take a minute or two. Lamb School 259. Lone Elm School right at 302. Area of concern right here, and that's continuing to push towards the north and east. That rotation has been very consistent for the last 30 minutes. And so it's not weakening. The other concern with this specific cell that has now prompted a new tornado warning for Scott County is that it's kind of out ahead of the main line. And when you get cells that are out ahead of a main line, those are the ones that are often the strongest. And so we want to be really, really careful with this specific cell that's now pushing into Scott County. It is definitively in Scott County at this point. Tornado sirens are likely going off there in Scott County. Your mobile phones are alerting you to this impending threat. Here's the red box. That's the red tornado polygon. If you live anywhere within these red lines, you need to be taking your tornado safety precautions right now. Let's go ahead and do this. I want to take a look at debris tracker and see if we have anything potentially on the ground. I don't see anything right now. That's the good news. The rotation with that specific cell is looking a little bit more impressive than it was a minute ago. The other thing that I'm noticing is the overall storm structure is now a little bit more concerning than it was. A very clearly defined region, a little hook echo here, a notch. You see that kidney bean shape? Well, that's telling us that there's a pretty steady, healthy inflow into that storm, and that's certainly going to start to spin. So if you get that updraft, that's air rising, now we're starting to spin it in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's probably what's happening that is what's happening right there, getting closer and closer to Blancet. Let's do this. Let's go in really tight on that. Ritz, it's going to be right on top of Ritz is where that rotation is right now. So the bright blues right there, those bright greens, this is going to be your concern right on top of Ritz. So here's Eagle Gap Road. Folks, if the television screen's flashing, we're taking some lightning strikes here at the television station. It's fine. That's why the screen's kind of blurring like it is. Here's Ritz, your area of concern right here. This continues to pass towards Nella, Blancet, eventually upstream into the Waldron community. I'm afraid that's kind of taking it kind of on a beeline towards you right there. While we wait on some new data to come in, let me do this. Let me look at this one more time. Okay. Rain's starting to probably move into Waldron, out of the anvil of that cell, but the concern's still back off to your southwest a ways. In fact, what I'll do this real quickly is give you some mileage of how far outside of town this actually is. Area of concern up through Waldron is about 12 miles outside of Waldron, just as the crow flies. I'm going to take another look at the cell moving into Fayetteville. It also kind of has that cellular look to it, right to the west of I-49. Gosh, there's definitely some very, very strong winds. Let's sample that. Velocity tool is going to show us what those winds are sampling at 72 miles per hour, 75, 63. So we've got some damaging winds, without question, likely coming out of that, moving into Farmington, Fayetteville, Greenland, West Fork, Goshen as well. That'll eventually take it over towards Hinesville in Madison County. I believe Carroll County is actually also included in that upstream warning. As you take a look out, it does include portions of southeastern Benton County. So just for this cell, now the rest of Benton County is under a different warning for the cell that's getting ready to move through Bentonville as we speak. Let's go in and take a look at that one. Let's just make sure that none of these are rotating that we don't know about. I don't trust any of these cells just because I'm acutely aware of how much wind shear is in the atmosphere right now and how volatile the atmosphere could be, where these cells might not take a lot to go from 0 to 60. You know, there could be a little kink right there just to the, let's say, west of Rogers, but nothing too concerning as of this moment. That's all it is, no active impending threat. Let's watch that track towards the northeast. That'll eventually take it over towards Garfield. Looks like our warning has been updated. What is that update for Washington? Looks like maybe we just trimmed parts of southwestern and western Washington out of it. That's all that update is. We maintain 70 mile per hour straight line winds. Tornado possible tag remains on this specific warning. That cell now right on top of Fayetteville. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rotation tracker there and just make sure that there's nothing additional on top. I would say that signal is actually a little bit less concerning than it was the last scan. That's the best news I've seen with that cell in a little bit. Let's hope that continues to trend. Back into Scott County we go. That's some stronger rotation. My goodness. That's a little concerning. Folks in Blancet, I sure hope you're in your tornado safety precautions right now. I hope you're putting as many walls between you and the exterior of your home as possible. Those winds are rather bright right there. Now, granted, we're a little bit away from the Doppler radar site, so we're looking kind of higher up. You would expect the winds to be a little bit higher, but 75 mile per hour winds, potentially in that area of circulation. That's a bit concerning. So we'll want to be acutely aware that that rotation has strengthened. Okay, so if you're in Waldron, you're kind of thinking, man, am I really going to have to go take my tornado safety precautions? Can you just put golf back on? we really need to be taking this one seriously. That rotation has come up. We still have a very strong supercell. It's out here by itself. It is an isolated, discrete supercell. At this point, there's not really a whole lot that's necessarily going to weaken it. Maybe it doesn't actually produce a tornado, which would be great news for us. But right now, I think what I'm seeing, if I'm in Waldron, if I'm living in Waldron, looking back towards the southwest as to what's happening right now in Blanchard, I'm going to go ahead and move to that innermost room. There's not a lot that's going to change the trajectory of that storm, not only because it's out ahead of the main line. The other issue that we need to know about this cell is it hasn't weakened at all since it fired up. Produced some pretty strong rotation down in McCurtain County, moved through LaFleur, Polk, now into Scott, and it's maintained consistent rotation, if not stronger right now than it was earlier when that warning was first issued. Look at velocity again, still a very evident sign of rotation right there. We'll look at our debris tracker, not seeing anything. I really hope that holds. That's some good news for the time being in a Waldron titled rough couple of weeks, and we would prefer not to have to add anything on top of that, really, for anybody out there. I want to let you know that if you're in Delaware, Adair, Sequoia counties, I can give you the all clear. The threat is past you. Our concern is going to be along this line of broken severe thunderstorms spanning Benton County, Washington, Crawford, Sebastian, down towards Scott, all this moving towards the east-northeast. The line itself, while it is severe and probably producing some very damaging winds, could have some pockets of hail. It's these isolated cells that are going to be more prone than any of the others to produce rotation and thus tornadoes. So what we want to see is we want to see them stay as a line. Look, if we're going to have bad weather today, we'd prefer it just stay as a line segment. We don't want things to break off like what's happened in Scott County. When they break off like that and become discrete, that's when we begin to have problems, and that's what we're seeing out there with that Scott County cell. Right now. I want to take another look into Crawford County. That cell was trying to break away a little bit earlier ago. Not seeing a lot in the way of rotation with that one specifically. Although if you take a closer look, there is some messy signal that maybe there's a little bit of rotation here near Mountainburg. Here's 282, 71, of course, right there on 49. I think there's a couple of RDOT, at least one RDOT camera over there near Mountainburg. Can we look for that? We want to be looking up towards the west. Here's Chester graphic. So we're kind of in that Chester, Mountainburg graphic area north of Dean Springs. That's going to pass close to Fern. Here's Old Lock Road. If this is an increasing area of spin, that's certainly something we want to pay very close attention to right now. It's not the clearest of signals, but it is of concern to us as that cell continues to push towards the northeast right now, pretty much right along 49, not far from Mountainburg, if not in Mountainburg right now. So heads up, folks, downstream or upstream from that. Firm would be included in that. May track portions into Madison County, northwestern Franklin eventually, should that maintain its current speed. It looks like there's a lot of straight line winds coming out of that cell as well. The thing is, warning itself, which goes until 3, so we've got about 20 more minutes for those in this warning polygon. It's only for about 60-mile-per-hour winds. They may have to update that because it looks like there very well could be some increase in wind speeds along the leading edge of this line that's now running parallel with Interstate 49 between Alma and, let's say, Winslow. Alma and Winslow. Now, in Fort Smith right now, you have a strong thunderstorm. It is a severe thunderstorm. I don't see any rotation with what's moving through the Fort Smith area as of right now. Let's keep an eye on it. I got Stephen, I got Joshua looking at other radar sites off air. So just because we're not looking at you at this moment doesn't mean I don't have eyes on you. We certainly have a lot of eyes on you on all of these cells moving through the area. Our concern, we'll go back into Scott County, is this one active tornado warning, which includes Blanchett, Brawley, and Waldron. Okay, new tornado warning. This is going to be for Crawford, Madison, and Washington counties. It's that cell we were just looking at there in Mountainburg. Folks near Bidville, Chester, Mountainburg, Winslow, I need you taking your tornado safety precautions right now. That cell was becoming more cellular. It was trying to break away from that main line, and you see that happening. Here's your rotation right here. Rotation is on top of I-49 right now, just to the south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. That concern, let me zoom in really tight, is right on top of Chester at this point. If you're in Chester, I really need you in your tornado safety location. Right now, we're putting as many walls between you and the exterior as possible. Let me call out some roads, some names here. This is going to be East Front Avenue. This is going to be Burger Mountain Road, Canova Trail, God's Ranch Road, War Loop Road, State Highway 71. 49. Anywhere in Chester, you have an increasing amount of rotation in a cell that is trying to act up. It's trying to break away from the main line. When that happens, we definitely very well could be seeing a tornado trying to develop at any time. That rotation between Mountainburg and Chester, a little bit in Chester, I would say even back towards the south, there's a broad area of rotation there just to the north of Mountainburg as well. This new tornado warning includes portions of Madison and Washington counties as well. That one is moving at 55 miles per hour. So from that area of rotation, at 55 miles per hour, that puts it at Artist Point, 246, Mount Gaylor, 249, Miller's Chapel, 253, the Black Oak Church at 257, Brannon at 3 o'clock, Montgomery Chapel, 304, Cannon Creek at 305. Right now, the area of rotation is right on 49. Given the fact it's moving that quick, I would suspect it's actually outrunning the actual radar, so it's probably now closer to 71. Here's Mountainburg. Mountainburg, I just need you in your safe place in Mountainburg and Chester, given what this is doing right here between 49, Chester, and Mountainburg, anywhere along 71. I'm going to need you to be there for probably the next 10 or 15 minutes at the most, and then you can come on out. That is going to be moving towards the north of Old Lock Road. We'll wait for some new data to come in with that specific cell. In the meantime, I want to go back to Scott County. We continue to see very strong rotation there as well. We're doing our best to keep everyone informed with these cells as they develop. Right now, we have 2 tornado warnings for our viewing area. That includes Scott County. Ooh, this cell, I don't like the way that looks. That hook is much stronger than it was, but the rotation actually isn't as strong as it was. So that could potentially be some good news, but it is still strong rotation. It's still very strong rotation. In fact, that's soon going to be, that's probably about, let's say, 8 or so miles to the southwest of Waldron. That's coming pretty much directly at Waldron right now. That area of rotation is. If you're in Waldron, need you to be taking your tornado safety precautions. Looks like we've got some debris or wind blowing something around outside the back porch here. Not sure what that was. That's minimally, that's probably those straight line winds in coming through Fayetteville right now. Very strong 70+ mile per hour winds with that specific cell. I want to go back to Crawford County. Second tornado warning now in effect until 3:15. You do have a very complex setup right here. Mountainburg, Chester, broadly speaking, that's where your area of rotation has been developing over the last few minutes. It's going to be moving close to Bidville. If you're in Bidville or anywhere between Bidville, Chester, Mountainburg, we need you in your safe location right now. Joshua, did you have something?
I was going to say, we have an RDOT camera that is just to the north of Chester. It's looking northbound, but that RDOT camera, we're seeing some intense winds going through there. The camera that is just south of Chester is looking south. Haven't seen anything on there, but there are some intense winds with that one. You can see that tree at the bottom. Every now and then we'll get a gust that kind of blows it out of view. So hazardous driving conditions, to say the least, if anyone's commuting through that area.
Yeah, Artist Point, really need you folks that lives anywhere on Artist Point in your safe location. This is a view close to that actual area of rotation. Can't see a whole lot. Really terrible time to be traveling I-49 right there. Current time here is 2:45 on the dot. We track a line of severe thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes. We do have 2 tornado warnings for Crawford County. That's going to get ready to move into Washington County, as well as southwest Madison County. Another severe storm that is producing some very strong rotation, getting closer to Waldron there in Scott County. These orange boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. We do have a new one, I believe, for Benton County. Right now, that's all it is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour winds in Fayetteville, Goshen, Elkins, Springdale. Winds are very intense with this severe storm. That's moving through Goshen. It's soon going to be moving towards War Eagle, Lowell, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds with that specific cell. Tornado warning continuing in effect for central Crawford, southeastern Washington, and southeastern Madison counties. That runs until 3:15. That cell right now, when I pause this, there could be potentially something favorable happening for us, and that is, you notice how that cell is right here, but there's a whole bunch of, I'm just going to call it junk. It's some other storms that are probably undercutting it a little bit. Sometimes when, do what?
New warning for the Logan County County now as well.
New warning for going into Logan County?
They're extending that Waldron tornado warning into Logan now.
Okay, thank you, Stephen Elmore, for that. Stephen and I passed ships in the night around 2 in the morning, and he's back, and Joshua came in on his day off on Easter Sunday. We really appreciate the full team being here for this. Waldron, I'm really concerned about you folks right now in Waldron. You're getting really close to that hook. That's where that rotation is. Warning now extends into Logan County, Boonville. Let's go ahead and take our tornado safety precautions. Tate, you as well. This storm's not going to slow down. It's out ahead of the main line, so it's not going to be competing like the storm in Crawford, Washington, Madison is for energy. This is going to be the most concerning cell. Not to say that there's not an immediate threat in Crawford or Washington or Madison. There is. This one, though, is just going to be a little bit stronger. So that warning for Boonville, Cawthorn, Magazine, and Waldron, that's going to run until 3:30 this afternoon. So current time's 2:48. We've got about 45 more minutes to go with that specific cell. I want to take a look into Fort Smith. I just need to make sure that there's nothing acting up there. In fact, Fort Smith has now been dropped from the warning. It continues for Mountainburg and Alma, but that is only a warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. That's flashing here in orange. So anywhere between Mountainburg, Alma, back towards Barling, you're still included in this warning. The red's there, very intense rainfall, probably some very gusty winds coming out of that specific cell. We'll go back to our northern tornado warning. Bedville is where we need to be in our immediate safe location right now. Winslow as well. That rotation is there. It's really messy, certainly compared to what it was. It's not strengthened. Weather Service just now telling us there. It's still there, but it's not strengthened, and that's some good news. I'm hoping some of that, what I call junk, those other thunderstorms are undercutting the inflow. Sometimes that can help us out, and I'd like that to be the case for us right now. I'm going to go back into Scott County while we wait for some new information up towards the north. This rotation and these high winds are now moving into the Waldron community.
It's something just to highlight real quick. There's a new little area of rotation on the tail end, Charlie, of this, north of Mena, that we may also need to watch as well. There's another little cell that looks to be interacting with it, but over the last couple of scans, velocity looks to have come up on that one as well.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Joshua. Keep me posted on that. Goodness, Waldron. Here's the Pines. Here's Waldron, Featherston Street. Here's Winfield. This is going to be an area of rotation that is spinning consistently in the atmosphere, and that is going to be moving out of Waldron over the next, let's give it about 15 or so more minutes, tops. Then you can come out. I know the winds are probably somewhat intense. You probably hear that. Rain's probably hitting the roof. It's probably pretty loud out there as well. If there is anything happening, it would be right there. I want to go back and look at my debris tracker and just check. Nothing that stands out immediately to me. So let's hope that remains the case with that specific cell. Heads up, folks in Logan County, if you're just now tuning in because your mobile phones have alerted you to a new tornado warning. It does include Boonville. This is for the concern that we've got right now in Waldron. That's passing towards the northeast. It'll be moving into northern Scott County, soon to be into southern Logan County. Boonville is definitively included in that tornado warning. I'll tell you, this one's not necessarily going to weaken unless something else happens with it. But right now, it seems to be on track to maintain its current course, which is going to be a concern for those in Logan County. Meanwhile, damaging straight line winds continue east of Bentonville and Rogers, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. You can see how bright they are here, this orange. We're kind of at the top of the scale. These are radar estimated wind speeds. I'm not finding much in the way of rotation in Bentonville or in the northern segment of that cell in Washington County, but Winslow is included in this tornado warning right now, and soon that is going to be passing into southwestern Madison County, and that warning is set to expire, or at least run until 3:15. So we've got about a little less than 25 more minutes to go with that specific cell. Rotation is there. It's not strengthened. So I say that as potentially some good news. It's not strengthened, but it's still there, especially near Winslow right now. If you're in Winslow, hearing my voice, I hope you're in your safe location. That's the place to be as of right now, as that cell is moving out of Crawford into southeastern Washington County. Let's go back into Waldron. big old area of rotation right there. You can see those colors just matching up, and they're bright at times, and that tells us that this thing is spinning. Whether or not there's something actually making contact with the ground or not is unclear, but the cell itself, the supercell, is spinning like a top, and it has been doing so for quite some time. So that's why I'm really concerned for us in Waldron. I need you to be in those safe locations. If you live northeast of Waldron, near Tate, Boonville, the storm is tracking your direction as well. We'll go in really close here. Put on some streets for me to read off to you. White Oak Road, Suncrest Road, East Highway 248, Morning Star Lane, Joel Road, Rebecca's Road, Willow Ridge Road, Whispering Pine Road, Square Rock Road, Grandstaff Avenue, City Lake Road. That's where your area of rotation is at this point. Now moving closer and closer to the northeast side of Waldron. So if you're hearing my voice in Waldron, I need you to stay put with where you're at. It's going to be over there soon, and it'll pass off to your northeast, and you can take a collective sigh of relief. We hope to be able to do that with you, but right now, that's where we're going to be looking at our concern as that tracks into Logan County next. So if you're in Logan County, now is the time to go ahead and getting those tennis shoes on and getting ready to move where you need to be. I think Joshua is correct. There is a secondary area of rotation with that cell. That's going to be south of Nella, just to the west of Y City. Secondary area of rotation now coming into southern Scott County. This is going to be south of Blancett. That moves up towards Bowles, right along 71 as well. I don't think this is why there is the warning. That's not the reason that it's been issued, but that's certainly something we have to watch to see if that supercell doesn't try to restructure itself in a way that goes more dominant on that southern side, which is a thing that they can and sometimes do. Here's the line segment extending from the Missouri-Arkansas state line down to about Fort Smith. It's here where it gets broken, where that segment is discrete and isolated, that it's going to be stronger than the others. That doesn't mean there's not a tornado threat within the line. Obviously, we're seeing that in Crawford, southeastern Washington, southwestern Madison County, but these are the ones that are often have more ability to tap into the ingredients that are available to them to produce rotation and inevitably a tornado. So really concerned with that one. If you're in East Oklahoma, if you're in Delaware, Adair, Sequoia, or LaFleur counties, I can give you the all clear. We are done with the threat there. West of 49 in Benton County, we're done with the threat there. And we're going to have a quiet rest of the evening in that part of the area. Can't necessarily give anyone else the all clear just yet. When I can, I promise to do just that. I'm hopefully going to be able to do that for a lot of us here real soon. In the meantime, our severe weather concern continues, especially across northeastern Crawford, southeastern Washington, southwestern Madison, as well as Scott and Logan counties. I want to go back to our cell that was moving through Mountainburg. This warning is going to run for about 25 more minutes exactly. We look at the winds. It's not a defined area of rotation nearly as much as it once was, but there very well still could be a little bit of spin right here now northeast of Winslow. So we're probably looking in southeastern Washington County, but of course that's getting ready to move over into Madison County, and it looks like there is a new severe thunderstorm warning. And this is a big one, goodness. This one is going to include a good chunk of Madison County, a good chunk of eastern Crawford County, almost all of Franklin County, and northern Sebastian County. You can see this new orange polygon right here. This is our new severe thunderstorm warning, and the reason it was issued was for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and there could be a little bit of small hail mixing in there as well. So a linear wind threat up to 60 or so miles per hour can't be ruled out with this specific cell. That is of a concern to us right now, very much so, but so is the tornado potential that we continue to see in Scott, getting ready to move into Logan County, as well as southeastern Washington County.
National Weather Service at Little Rock is talking about that cell that we were talking about just towards the south of that warned storm.
Okay.
Watching it for a little bit more circulation.
Yeah, it looks like this one's undergoing some changes. In fact, it almost looks like it's splitting to me. It makes me concerned that it is in fact splitting, and that's why we're getting that secondary area of rotation to the south of Waldron. I know we just kind of went through it once, but it looks like the south side maybe have to contend with a little bit something else down there as well. That warning goes for about 3 more minutes. Let's see, based off what they're thinking, they may have to do. It may not be immediate. They may give it a few more scans to see if that rotation continues to become more organized, but right now it's not so much there. Let's go back into our winds, our velocities. It looks like, and you guys, I'd love to get a second opinion on this, that rotation's not as tightly wound up north of Waldron as it was. It's definitely there. It's getting closer to Tate. Here's where it would be, but it's not as compact, or I would even say as organized as it was a little bit earlier. That could potentially be some good news for us, unless it's just undergoing some structural changes, which may be why we're seeing that rotation towards the south.
Yeah, and looking at the normalized rotation over here too, we're not seeing any of those bright colors that are popping off with that original rotation. In fact, in the latest scan, that area that was looking more cellular with that hook feature, it's looking a little bit more sloppy now, but that one to the south is still piquing my attention just because that one looks like it may be recycling, but it's looking more and more cellular compared to the last several scans as well.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. That cycling probably is going to be a thing that we continue to see for the next a couple of hours until we can pass this along off towards the east. Let's do this. I want to take you back area-wide. Right now we do have multiple tornado warnings in our viewing area. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. These are continuously tracking off towards the east. Tornado watch in effect for almost all of the area. We have been trimming some back off towards the west, but almost all of the area until 7 o'clock this evening. I don't think the threat is going to last that long, I'll tell you that. Once the line clears you, you're probably going to be in fine shape, and we'll start to see that watch canceled county by county until there are no more left, and then we'll see a mostly quiet evening. We've just got to get through the next probably couple of hours to go until we can immediately clear that. New severe thunderstorm warning now issued for parts of Johnson, good chunk of Logan, as well as a good chunk of Scott County. That's going to be for our current supercell that is producing some rotation. That warning being issued by our friends out of the Weather Service in Little Rock, and it perhaps is indicative of their thoughts with regards to what they're going to do with this tornado warning, which is set to expire in the next minute to two. Perhaps if they're going to let it expire and just be replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning, that could potentially be some good news for us. We'll know in the next couple of moments. Right now, though, if I'm in Boonville, I'm still taking my tornado safety precautions. This cell, not necessarily as organized as it once was, but it appears to me what might be happening is it might be splitting, and the southern cell would be the one that becomes more dominant. Okay, so they have reissued that, or we're continuing with that warning until 3:30. So the original warning has been dropped. It expired at 3. The second warning, that does include a good chunk of Logan County, set to continue for 30 more minutes. We'll have to see if really, I mean, that cell is going to stay in that warning polygon, so I don't know if you necessarily even need a new one. But that cell becoming a bit more southern dominant. So when we look at the rotation, what we're looking at here is that the original area of rotation that produced the tornado warning now not as concerning as it once was. It's still concerning, and I want to be clear about that for the folks in Logan County upstream. You still need to be taking those precautions, but it's this, we call it a tail end Charlie, and to be honest, I have no clue why we call it that, but it's on the tail end of the cell where that rotation is beginning to start to redevelop in the southern portion of Scott County. That would be tracking towards the northeast as well. In of itself, it's not necessarily a concern, but given the environment, it very well could be over the next few scans. Here's Parks, here's Waldron, and I'm looking right here. So if you want to draw a triangle between Parks, Blancett, and Waldron, we're kind of at the bottom of it, in that general vicinity right there. Let's go back into the Crawford / Washington / Madison County warning. It looks like that one is, there's still some rotation there. I'm not sure what the Weather Service is going to end up doing. The question is it still as strong as it once was to keep a tornado warning? I don't know. Kind of scratching my head on that one. It's possible that they may have to let that one go. When you look at debris tracker, not seeing much in the way of debris. Rotation's not as organized as it was. Still want to be mindful of it. I don't want to let our guard down just yet. That warning runs until 3:15, so we have about 14 more minutes to go with that to determine whether or not they're going to issue a new one or not. That rotation to me looks like it's closer to the Durham area. Okay, they've actually canceled that, it looks like. Is that the reason it just fell off? Yes, they've canceled that tornado warning for Crawford, Madison, and Washington. That's some good news for us. So we take an area-wide reset here. We maintain one tornado warning for Scott and Logan counties. The tornado warning we had coming out of Crawford into Washington into Madison is no longer strong enough in terms of rotation to warrant a tornado warning. It's since been replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning, 60+ mile-per-hour winds, a lot of rain, decent amount of lightning and thunder with that specific segment, but it's going to be down here coming out of Scott into Logan County where we've got that potential of some continued rotation. I think that cell is still out ahead of the main line. Now, it's possible the main line could catch up and undercut it all and completely just dismantle the cell. That's what to hope for in these moments. But it looks like it's splitting. The southern cell is going to become a bit more dominant, more than likely. That's what often happens in the textbooks, is the southern cell becomes a bit more dominant. And that's why we do have some developing rotation on the southern end of that cell south of Waldron. With that said, the rotation that's now moving into portions of southern Logan County is just as much of a concern to us there as well. We're going to go really close in here, really close. In fact, on this tornado warning, we're crossing out of Scott into Logan counties, south of 23 there. The rotation's pretty much right at Tate. The rotation that's left is right here. It's right at Tate, tracking across into Logan County in the next 2 to 4 minutes, more than likely. It's going to be moving a little bit quicker. It is tracking towards Boonville, so I want folks in Boonville to continue paying close attention to this specific cell. It maintains enough rotation that you want to take it seriously, although I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe it's not as intense as it once was. Cautiously being the key word with that specific cell. Let me go in really close. I'll call out some of these roads where that rotation is right now. County Road 35, Tate Road, County Road 307, County Road 92, Pack Saddle Road, Freedom Road. So we're talking to the, pretty much at Elm Park and Tate. Those communities is where this rotation would be right now, as indicated by Doppler radar. I'm continuously impressed that right now that's not as much of a concern as it once was. I think that cell is undergoing a little bit of structural changes. Let's hope that it's just going to fizzle out, but I suspect it may just be recycling, given where it's at. If this main line can catch up to it, then we're probably going to be sitting in better shape. Until then, there's a little bit of concern. Let's do ourselves a favor. Let's walk up and down this line. Let's start in Benton County. There is some, goodness gracious, I mean, there's some intense winds coming out of this. Starting to see a few damage reports coming out of Springdale that you folks are sending in to us. These straight line winds, you can kind of see exactly where they are. They do get a little bit stronger in Madison County, and we very well could be looking at 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds with that leading edge of that storm system right there. There might be a little pocket of rotation between Durham and Japton right there. You guys see that? It's weak, just to the north of Cannon Creek. That's going to be south of 16, west of 295, pretty much between 74 and 295, just for some context. Cannon Creek and Durham would be what most folks there would refer to that as. It's weak rotation, but it is embedded in an area that, well, we've seen some other stronger rotations, so let's be really cautious and pay close attention to that. Clarksville is included in this severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued in advance of our supercell that currently is tornado warned. Rotation is seemingly looking a little bit better than it was, which is some good news, but our warning continues for 24 more minutes with this specific cell. I'm going to loop this, and what we're going to do when we loop it just over the last hour, you're going to be able to see how the storm has evolved with time. It was pretty intense, and while it still is intense, and one to take with a great deal of seriousness in Logan County, it's not as organized in the way that it once was. You almost see right here, I'll pause it. It almost looks like there's that southern cell is really just trying to pinch off, and when that happens, it's probably going to re-intensify. And you can see it right here. This looks to me like what's going to inevitably be the new cell. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong about it. Inevitably, this one's going to get undercut. Oftentimes, the parent cell, the first one, goes off and fizzles out. May not be happening right now immediately, but that may be what we're trending, a direction we're trending in. Waldron, I think you're primarily, well, Waldron, you're close to being okay. downtown Waldron, I think you're going to be okay. If you live on the south side of Waldron, east side of Waldron, I don't want you to get out of your safe place just yet. I'd like you to stay put for a few more minutes, especially if you live along 250. That area of rotations. It's weak, but it's definitively still there. Our tornado warning continues for Barber, Boonville, Cawthorn, and Magazine as of right now. Let's bring in Joshua or Stephen for a moment.
Yeah, so from the National Weather Service out of Little Rock, you were just talking about that cell, seeing some signs of weakening. They're saying the same thing as well, saying that may be a little bit influenced by that storm off towards the south. The tornadic potential is declining, still very strong winds in that area as well. Still something to watch. We know in these situations that these can spin back up really quickly, but at least they're seeing the same thing that we are, that at least that tornado potential is somewhat coming down over the past few scans.
And based off that information, they've actually canceled the tornado warning for Logan and Scott County. So here's what we're going to do. In a matter of about 30 or so seconds, we're going to return you back to regularly scheduled programming. I take no pleasure in breaking into anything, especially golf on a Sunday. So I want you to know that I take no pleasure in that. With that said, my job is to keep people safe, and I do take great pride in that. And so right now, we do have a line of severe thunderstorms spanning Benton and Carroll counties back all the way towards Scott counties. Our coverage is going to continue. We're not going to go anywhere until the last warning expires. We're going to be on 5+. That's our free app. You can download it for Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Those are free locations. You can find us as well on our mobile app. You can download that for your cell phone. Our coverage will continue there up until the point there's a new tornado warning. Should that actually happen, I hope it doesn't. If that happens, we're right back here on Channel 5. For all of us here at 5 News, we hope you have a very good Easter Sunday. We'll return you back to regularly scheduled programming.